So Canon gets hacked, we get a couple of lens announcements around the horizon for Sony E-Mount. We find out that the Viltrox 85mm Mark I can apparently be updated to shoot at f1.6, and it seems there might be a way to record up to 4 hours on the EOS R5 in 4K HQ. Stay tuned. Hey, what's going on everybody? It's that one camera guy back at again with a newsroom around a video. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like button, get subscribed. Now let's go ahead and get started with the stories. First on our list is coming in from Petapixel, and it has to do with Canon being hit by a ransomware. It's an unfortunate situation. It's being reported that almost 10 terabytes of data has been stolen. That is an incredible amount. I mean, that could be a mix of photos and videos, but I'm assuming it's just data about the company. So Canon has reportedly been hit by a devastating ransomware attack, in addition to knocking a long list of Canon websites offline. The attack is said to have resulted in a whopping 10 terabytes of data being stolen from Canon servers. Bleeping Computer reports that the ransomware group called Maze has claimed responsibility for successfully attacking Canon and impacting a wide range of services at the company, including email, Team Collab software, its USA websites, and internal applications. Canon reportedly sent out a company-wide alert this morning to inform employees of widespread system issues affecting multiple applications. So for example, if I go onto the CanonUSA.com site right now, this is what you're going to go ahead and see on that particular site. So I think it's been going on for a couple days now. People have noticed things were down on the Canon side of things, and they are acknowledging it. So I don't think they necessarily acknowledge the ransom situation, but let's continue on. Bleeping Report, which cites both a Canon insider and a Maze representative as sources, published a partial screenshot of the ransom note. So here's what they're asking for from the ransom. They're letting them know that we've hacked files, documents, photos, and databases and other important data, which are safely encrypted with reliable algorithms. And they're saying you can't access the files right now, but don't worry, you can get it back. Obviously, they're asking for money. They've also downloaded a lot of private data from their network. They're saying if you don't contact within 3 days, they'll post information about the breach on public news websites. So it seems as if that has already started to leak, considering that it's being posted from this website, Bleeping Computers. And then after 7 days, they're going to make it public, I guess, for download info. And then as far as how to get the files back, they're obviously going to be given a private key, and they're going to have to pay up effectively in order to get the data back. Maze tells Bleeping Computer that it managed to steal 10 terabytes of data, private databases, etc. Other details of the attack, including the nature of the stolen data and the ransom amount, are not known. So we really don't know how much these folks are asking for. It might be a really sizable amount. Maze ransomware has reportedly hit other big brands like LG and Xerox, apparently also targeting hospitals and labs. Let's see down here. They even mentioned that a fitness brand, Garmin, was hit by a ransomware attack in late July, resulting in the company operation being almost shut down, and ended up paying a multi-million-dollar ransom to the attackers. They're saying it's not the same company, the same group apparently, in order to decrypt all its files. And there's an update here. A Canon spokesperson tells Petapixel that the company is currently investigating the situation. Now this is pretty crazy because now, if they don't end up paying the ransomware and the information, there's a lot of private data, obviously, probably users as well, which people don't want that information out there. But it could also potentially have information about upcoming lenses, camera information, just a lot of camera data information internally that they've talked about and have gone over. I remember, I think, when there was that Sony leak, especially just Sony in general, we found out about upcoming Sony cameras and lenses from that situation. So it's an unfortunate situation for Canon at the moment. It's looking like this is the case, that there's something going on. So I guess we'll see what happens in the next few days, whether or not they get it resolved, or we'll start seeing information about a potential download of all this data. So let me know your thoughts down below about that situation, but it's unfortunate for Canon. All right, moving on to our next topic here is an 85mm F1.4. Now, we have a lot of 85mm lenses for Sony E-Mount, a lot of F1.8s, but this one coming in at 1.4 at $1,200 US looks to be maybe competing with the G Master option that's out there for Sony E-Mount. 15 elements in 11 groups, shortest focus distance 0.85 meters, 11 diaphragm blade, 77mm filter thread, 630 grams, stepping motor, dustproof, dropproof. It looks to be a very small lens from some of the images that were shown. So it's a much more compact 85 instead of one honking, chonking lens. Effectively, you're going to have an AFL button here. You got well, you can declick it, which is great. You got autofocus, manual focus switch here. So there's a lot of bells and whistles that this lens has, but the real question is, are you even in a market for an 85? Would this replace your 85 GM if you happen to have an 85 G Master? But yeah, I would definitely be interested in trying this lens out when it comes around. I just finished up a 85mm test, testing out the 85mm Viltrox Mark II. But yeah, I'm always all for more lenses and options for Sony E-Mount users. I don't know. What do you think? Next on our radar is a Tamron lens. Tamron has been keeping busy for themselves. It's a 70-300. It's not the most exciting thing out there, but it's a much needed casual lens on this particular full-frame E-mount system. So Tamron announces the development of the 70-300 f4.5 to 6.3 for Sony E-Mount. I'm not going to bore you with all the information here, but as you know, this tends to be a pretty popular focal length, even for those that might even shoot with DSLRs. 70-300, very casual, not super bright, but can get the job done. So considering Tamron's track record as of late, I'm sure they can pull off a really nice lens. I'm just very curious about the price point, but I will be curious to try this lens out when it is available. So I didn't know this was possible, but apparently you can make your f1.8 all the way down to f1.6. And this happens to be a Viltrox update that's going on. Now, this is not new apparently. This has been going on for a few months now, but it seems to be some non-official software or firmware. But this is coming in from Sony Addict. Viltrox released a firmware update for fans in China that makes the Viltrox 85 into a Viltrox 85 f1.6. This update adds a lot of value to your lens and makes it even more attractive purchase for a photographer to do that, not own it already. You can download the update here, blah, 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 blah. They're saying it's not official in the US, but there has not been any issues reported. So I haven't dug into this too much, but there's some videos there that you can find on this page. I can give you some more information about this, but if you own the Mark I version, it seems you can get a third of stop-of-light performance out of it, which is pretty interesting. So very curious to see how that goes. But again, I think it's for the Mark I lens, not the Mark II. So if you made it this far, let's go ahead and talk about the EOS R5. There's been some interesting development. I've been seeing folks testing out their cameras now, which is fantastic. It's exactly what I wanted to see. So folks are testing out their R5 in a variety of conditions and seeing how the camera performs. Now on this channel here, let me go ahead and jump to that right now, which will be linked down below. YouTuber channel No Life, this gentleman went ahead and tested out his R5. Now the way he tested this out, he's using a dummy battery, no SD card, 4K HQ, 30 FPS, 10-bit C-Log, all out. You can basically see on the screen what he has set up here. And he's doing external recording to an Atomos Ninja 5. So what's very interesting here is that he takes out the SD card, which is I think is a very important factor in all of this, which is really strange. So right here, before we get into the whole punchline of this, if we jump over to Gerald and Dunn's test, check it out here. When Gerald and Dunn was testing out the 4K HQ mode, when he shot it externally, he actually did pretty good. The results were actually not that bad. He got even more time than if it was internal versus external at about 42 minutes. And then he said there was a potential for even 75 minutes or so. So with that said, I mean that's pretty good already, 4K HQ. But this person just ends up taking out the actual card and things have changed. Now I'm not going to play the whole video at all. I'm actually not going to play, just kind of thumb through it. But you should definitely check it out if this stuff is interesting you, if you're worried about the video side of things. So he goes on for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and then finally it actually overheats and shuts down. So what's interesting about this whole process is that when he was done with the testing, the camera was actually not very hot to the touch, which has been the case with a lot of people that have been testing out the camera. So what does this really mean? And it's been a speculation that's been growing, and I'd like to know your thoughts on it as well. But I'm wondering if Canon actually did a hard limit. Again, this conversation about a time limit or so, and it seems that the card removal is sort of a hack that tricks the camera in some capacity. So there is hope, and he brings it up in the video as well, that this could be a software kind of thing or a firmware kind of situation that they can work out to make it feasible for you to use it in much more. But if you tend to use an external recorder anyway, you might be able to utilize this feature for yourself if you want longer form recording in an ideal scenario. But it looks like he's going to be doing some tests, maybe taking it outdoors, direct sunlight maybe, or roughly. So it would be nice to see how that handles. Now I do have a rental for mine. I think Lens Rental told me it's still looking to come in by next week maybe. I'll definitely want to try this out myself and see how things go with the Atomos. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about this. Again, I think there's something weird going on that Canon can definitely fix, especially with cooldown times and such. It's just really strange that this actually happened. It's such a weird anomaly because we've already assumed that the camera would not be able to record for prolonged periods of time, even externally. But now just by removing the card itself, some things have changed, and it could also be the dummy battery. But that's going to do it for me in this news rumor roundup, folks. Make sure you drop a like, get subscribed, and check out my other content. And I'll catch you later. Peace.